Welcome back from our Twitter Jobs 1. My name is Priva Elibaz and this is Twitter Jobs 2. We are streaming live on our website at www.ctv.co.ug. Well, the conversation on Twitter Jobs 1 continues right here as we still look at why the arts teachers did suspend their strike indefinitely after their meeting with President H.E Museveni on Monday at the Kololo Ceremony grounds. Well, joining me in studio today are the gentlemen Mr. Elong Vincent, who is the national chairperson of the Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, as well as Mr. Mwebase Richard, who is the Legal and Labor Relations Officer of the Uganda National Teachers Union. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, my first question is going to go to you, Mr. Mwebase. Why suspend the strike? Why now? After 3 weeks of not showing up in classrooms, not teaching the students, why suspend the strike now? Because some of the rumors or some of the opinions people hold are that the UNATU leaders were actually coerced into making this decision, or others actually saying there was a bit of corruption somewhere in there. What do you have to say?
Priva, what you need to know
Yes.
is that we are a labor union, not a political party and not a rebel outfit. That's the beginning point, and that's what actually what I want the public to know, that we are governed by the laws that govern labor unions.
Yeah.
Labor unions are negotiators. That's the approach that the labor union is supposed to take. And even the law that really regulates negotiations between labor unions and the public service, it is called the Public Service Negotiation and Consultative Machinery Act. You have got to consult and negotiate. So a strike is not a do or die. So that's what I want the public to understand. And this is what happened. We had a meeting with Excellency the President. We have had 2 meetings with the President. When we had the first meeting with the President, he directed the Minister in charge of Public Service and the Minister in charge of Finance to make sure they look into our issue and see how the gap can be crossed between the science teacher and the nurse teacher, and then report back to His Excellency the President. To cut the story short, we got an invitation from Her Excellency the Vice President that invited us to go and discuss and see how we can really solve this issue. At the end of the meeting, we resolved that they should take back feedback to His Excellency the President on what we had resolved. And that is how His Excellency the President again called us for another meeting. And this time the meeting was bigger. We had a bigger team. We have 178 branches in the whole country.
Yeah.
And the meeting was attended by all our branch chairpersons and National Executive Council members. The meeting was also attended by workers, members of Parliament. It was also attended by National Organization of Trade Unions. That's the labor center which we affiliate to. So when we went to meet His Excellency the President, we went with one slogan. Our slogan of UNATU was, no money, no class. When we reached His Excellency the President, he told us that no class, no negotiation. And the background was that runners have lost time during the COVID-19 and they are continuing to lose more time. So it was agreed that in order for us to negotiate and engage government on our issues, we need to save time of a runner as we discuss. And that's why I'm telling you that the labor union is really is supposed to negotiate. Even rebels discuss and talk with governments and reach a consensus. Who are we not to discuss, even when the law says we should discuss with government? So the suspension of the strike was as a result of the need to negotiate and agree on how we can resolve this issue. But most importantly, the government, the employer understood our issue, and there is commitment from government that our issues are going to be worked on. And to us, that is very, very, very important. Having understood and the commitment that our issues are going to be worked on. So what the public should really understand is that we are not supposed to work like the way political parties work, the way how rebels work. No. We're supposed to negotiate, and when we negotiate, then we get results.
Well, Mr. Mwebaze, we see that the UNATO Secretary General, that is Mr. Philbert Baguma, said as UNATO you had two options. Either to walk away from the negotiating table and continue with the industrial strike, or actually suspend the negotiation, suspend the strike and actually continue the negotiations with the government. What were some of your prior options on the table that you had in mind before actually being given the ultimatum to choose between two options?
One of the, when we went to meet His Excellency the President, of course, when the meeting was called, we had high hopes that His Excellency would actually solve the problem in the short run. Those are the hopes that we had. But when we reached the meeting, now the message was that you people, we need to talk and see how we can help the runner. You know, when the two elephants fight, is the grass that suffer, that get a problem. So we said, in order for this grass, the children, not to suffer, to continue suffering, let's silence our tools, let's go back to the negotiating table and discuss. And it is in that spirit of negotiation and agreeing to see how we can really, and what Mr. Baguma is saying there, you cannot negotiate with somebody when you are not talking. We are here, me and you, engaging. If you move out of the studio, if I move out of the studio, how do we discuss and reach a consensus? So we said, in order for the employer not to go out of the negotiating table, let's consider a suspension and we engage in discussions. That's actually that's the reason as to why we said, let us, in the interest of the organization, in the interest of the parents, in the interest of the runners, let us suspend pending the negotiations. And there is will from government. In the fact that His Excellency, who is the fountain of honor, accepting to meet us twice to discuss these issues, really tells you that there is willingness from government to solve our problem.
Actually commit and remunerate the arts teachers. It's the same way they are remunerating the science teachers. But you, Mr. Olong, what's your take on the fact that the arts teachers did suspend their strike without actually getting any of without actually getting any of their, how would I put it, demands, without the government actually meeting their demands?
I want first of all to thank you for the opportunity to give an input on this. I think suspending the strike after 3 weeks of industrial action, it was a wise decision. I want to reiterate what my brother said. It is about making a point. And I think they have put their point, and the employers noted. While we are, I think, in industrial action, one of the things I said was a strike is about getting the attention of the employer. You observe that most time when we go into the strike, you'll find that there is not even talking. You write, they don't respond. You try to meet them, they don't meet you. But when UNATO entered industrial action, you realize that they met the president twice. And even the letters, the correspondence that came, there was some hope, because they told them, well, the priority was here, but you are the next what?
You're coming in line, you're next in line.
Yes, which is positive.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So, Mr. Mwebaze, what are some of your achievements? You got out of a 20-day strike.
Now, the most and the biggest achievement we have got is that the government has had and understood our issue. That's the biggest, and to us that is very, very important. Because if we had kept quiet and decided to fold our hands, nobody would have known that there is this disparity in the increment of salaries of teachers. If we had not brought the issue, even the public wouldn't have known that there is a problem. To us, that's the first and the most important achievement.
Getting the attention of the government.
No, understanding our issue, not getting the attention, understanding what we are talking about. Because if you have been, I've been following, seeing all these stories in the media, the public has also appreciated and seen that what we are doing is right. And secondly, Uganda National Teachers Union, actually, we stand for the teachers, but in a way we stand for the whole country. We are the voice for the whole country. Because whenever we have an industrial action, I remember in 2018 when we had an industrial action, in 2019, the money that we got, the president said I cannot increase the money for teachers alone without increasing police and UPDF. And without increasing other civil servants. In a way, we have fought for everybody. So, actually the public should appreciate that the work we do is for the benefit of all of us. And secondly, I've been watching the tweets that were coming from the public.
Yes.
Others are asking what has UNIT achieved, what after the 21-day strike, why ABCD, why call now, they were bribed. All these tweets tell you that our public, our population has not understood the spirit of unionism and how labor unions work. And if you ask those people who are tweeting how many of them are in labor unions, you may find that none of them is in a labor union. Because it is only when you are in a labor union that you will understand that a labor union is a negotiator and not a labor outfit. Because this is the employer, your employer, the managers here at CTV, you have to talk to them in a good way. They are the ones who really pay your salary.
Pay you at the end of the day.
So
yes.
If you have an issue with them and they say, can you please continue to host the show as we are discussing? And then you say, I cannot host the show. That means the viewers outside there will not see what is taking place in the country. So this is the relationship, is employer-employee relationship. It's not a rebel against government. Okay,
still to you, Mr. Mwebaze. Now that the fact that the strike has been lifted and suspended, are teachers back in class? Can you confirm that they are back in class?
Yes, I can categorically confirm that all teachers are back in class and the teaching and learning is going on. That much I can confirm because we issued a statement to all our members yesterday and told them that we have suspended our industrial action, and the reason of suspension is that we are suspending to allow room for negotiation. And negotiations cannot continue when the runners are missing time. So we agreed that one of the issues, one of the deliverables that we agreed on is that in the interest of the runner who lost time during COVID-19, those are were agreements with His Excellency the President. Let's resume teaching and learning with immediate effect. Then we can discuss and see how we can solve your problem, because it is understandable and it has been understood and very well by government. And actually, if you see the tweets from His Excellency the President, he told the country that he has understood the issue of the teachers, and the government is committed to solving this problem. And to us, that is very, very important, and to us, that is a score. And actually, another biggest achievement is that initially, the public didn't know what we stand for. But I can assure you, the whole country now knows how important the teacher is.
Well, now that you just mentioned the fact that the teachers are back in class, what is actually being done to harmonize the situation between the arts teachers and the science teachers? Because from what we understand, for the 3 weeks, there's been some bit of friction between both groups. Yes.
For now, we are appealing to our members to remain calm. We have appealed to our members. We know the pain they are going through because of the selective salary enhancement. We know the humiliation that is being caused by the union, which is my brother he leads. We know all that humiliation that they are telling our members. By the way, these sentiments are not factual. They are factual, and some of them have been presented to the General Secretary of Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union to make sure that they talk to their members to behave in a professional way, to stop attacking their colleagues, because we all stand for the benefit of a runner. Last week I was with his General Secretary, Mr. Mugiga, in some media house, and there were live examples that came to him and they were brought to his attention. How as science teachers were deliberately attacking their colleagues and trying to really trying to psychologically torture them. You see, you can be my driver, you can do this, you can be a BCD, yet to work under the same terms. So we want to call our colleagues really here to prevail over their members and tell them to behave and know that they are working with their colleagues in the same industry. And secondly, I want to call on them that whenever there is a cause of this nature, they should always stand in solidarity with their sister labor union.
Labor union, yes.
They should always come and give in a hand, because today the fire is in our house, tomorrow it will be in their house.
Yours, yes.
So they need to understand that when we are fighting this war and they side with the employer, we are all oppressed on the same side, but they choose to deal with to support the oppressor, and tomorrow they don't know what is going to happen. So for us, when they had their industrial action, we stood in solidarity with them, we supported them, and we came and said the government should enhance their salaries because it has who negotiated them for them. So we supported them and said, please get your money. We have no problem with you. So I want to call upon them to really change their strategy.
Yes, Mr. Elong, I'm posing the very same question to you. What is being done to harmonize and collaborate the situation between the arts teachers and their science counterparts?
My brother is a lawyer, and Philbert is no longer a teacher.
He's a teacher. The teacher always a teacher.
He is not in class.
It doesn't have to be in class to
they don't have a correct analysis of what goes on in the school.
Yeah.
We had a staff meeting last week, and it was tough because the art teachers were speaking a lot, but I can tell you the science teachers all kept quiet, including myself. They expected me to speak, I didn't speak. There's a lot of provocation from the art teachers, but sometimes the story is only picked from the retaliation from a science teacher. I didn't post to you, one MP is in a group, a WhatsApp group of art teachers they have created, and is trying to tell them to provoke the science teachers and get the negative reply and send him so that he finds a way of pinning science teachers' salary. So, back to what my brother submitted. When we held an industrial action to push for our flight, well, he has said they supported us. We didn't get that support from UNATU. UNATU kept on saying, should they give science teachers money, they are going to go for industrial action. I don't know whether that was the support.
Do you have any record?
Let me submit.
You must give you whether you have any record.
The two petition they presented to the president, it is very clear, the 7-page petition. They were targeting the money that government gave science teachers, to the extent that they led a very, very strong campaign to have that money shared across or stopped. And any genuine human being cannot take that lightly. A human being with feelings, unless you are dead,
oh yes,
you don't have feelings. But if somebody comes targeting your entitlement, remember we are scientists. Government came clearly and said there are 60,000 scientists. Science teachers are 11,000 out of that. Humanity are 320,000. So the number was big, basing on the fact that the country has just come from COVID. And this explanation has been there. What they are explaining to them, it is what government has been saying to all workers. and told them for this year we are prioritizing what? This group, since it is a smaller group. Then in the subsequent enhancement, we will bring you on board. But these groups, that's why I told you that their strike would not succeed, because one, the timing was wrong. They came at a time when the budgeting process was closed. Then also, it is like going to a restaurant and then people ordering for their share, and then for you, you sit, and then you wait when all food is eaten and done. Then you start coming that serve me food.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is like venturing into an impossible one. In my last show I had here, in my closing remark, I think I said, even when they are going to State House, they will not get anything, because I'd already seen that it is what they are daring to reverse is almost impossible. My brother is a lawyer. A budget which has been passed by Parliament, it has been read, and you want to go into that budget, disorganize it. Government is not like a tomato selling company where you just bounce into it, disorganize what they have planned in one day. That means that organ is trying to show government we are stronger than you. Yeah. So they were daring too much. They were daring too much. I think next they should learn a lesson from it. They should come at the right time, put their complaint at the right time, so that government can listen to them. But science teachers are very peaceful.
Yes, Mr. Mwebase, you have...
talking there, whatever they are putting on them is not right.
Yes, Mr. Mwebase, you have the floor to submit or rebut. Yes.
My brother, you need to understand one thing. Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union has never sat in any negotiation to negotiate for any money. This money they are getting, it was as a result of the collective bargaining agreement we had with government and a presidential directive. So, I want to clear the air on that issue. You have never sat in any meeting to negotiate for any money. Even in your strike, the one that you had, you are not pushing for a negotiation, you are only pushing for the actualization of a presidential directive. So, to that extent, really, that record should be set clearly. He says they are scientists. Where? Who is a scientist? I've checked here. There is a law in Uganda that defines who a scientist is. The law is called Uganda National Council for Science and Technology Act. This is an act of parliament in Uganda here. It defines a scientist to include even a social scientist. So when you look at the category of saying that these are science, that Mr. Rong and his brothers, they are scientists, you even fail to understand the definition of who a science teacher is. I want to ask him, if he really stands for the science teachers, does he agree that his brothers in primary who teach science and mathematics are scientists? If you choose to speak for the scientists, speak for all. I'm still submitting, my brother. I'm still submitting. So, if you choose to speak for the science teachers, I would request that consider all your brothers. Don't be very selfish. Because we all overseer, including you, Pavin, we studied primary. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you studied mathematics and science in primary.
Yes, I did.
And it is the science that you studied in primary that helped you to study biology in secondary. That one is with no doubt. It is the mathematics that you studied which was carried on to secondary and subsequently the university to become to qualify in whatever qualification you got.
Yes.
So it is really being very selfish for a labor union to say they stand for a science teacher and then they pour out a certain section of science according to their definition, who are primary teachers teaching science, they leave them out. And then they move with a certain group flying around with them that these are scientists. We are saying no. If you choose to stand for a science teacher, even be considerate to your brothers in primary. And as a labor union, you should stand for the welfare and the socio-economic interest of all the teachers who teach science. Not only a handful of people from secondary and whom we are saying aside. It is primary. Do you agree with me when you get an opportunity that it is the primary that gives the best to the child?
The foundation?
It gives the foundation to the child. If you don't get a foundation from primary, I can tell you and assure you that you will not get the results from when somebody reaches secondary. And secondary, a primary teacher who teaches science and mathematics works and teaches longer hours than somebody who teaches mathematics, biology, and chemistry in the secondary sector. The hours are longer. These people teach only 2 days a week, but a primary teacher teaches every day, Monday to Friday. So really, let us be fair. My brother wrong. I want you to change your approach. If you choose to say that these are scientists according to your definition, you put your brothers from primary who are teaching science and mathematics and also say they are sciences, and their salaries should also be increased like yours have been increased, because they are the ones who laid the foundation for the scientists you are saying they are teaching in secondary.
Yes, Mr. Elong.
Yes.
Now, the other issue. No, you have. I need to clear.
You want to dominate now.
You raised other issues.
Let me respond.
Madam Moderator, let me finish them.
Let me respond.
When what I'm doing is
okay, Mr. Mwebase, yes, you have the floor to,
I'm still responding
Let me. You will come back.
I'm rejoining. I've not finished the issues you raised.
Let me respond.
Let me finish the issue.
Rejoinder, then we will. Come back to you, Mr. Elong.
This is when it's called rejoinder. I'm rejoining to your issues which you raised, that we wanted to share their money. Which money? You see, you have misunderstood what we took to His Excellency the President. We told His Excellency the President that when you are feeding the children, you should feed all your children. And we asked them to look for food to feed all the children. Are you getting the point? Mm-hmm. When we say that the food available should feed all the children, we are looking at the entire budget of the whole country. We are not looking at the money for science teachers, because we know that if it is shared, the increment will be negligible. So we are saying that we have very many projects, very many wasteful expenditure in government, especially public functions, money that goes for celebrating Labor Day, Independence, ABCD. That budget can be cut and the money is given to the teachers. And then when you give the teachers, and secondly, what we stand for as Uganda National Teachers Union is not because we want money. We stand for quality education for all of us. Because we know that if Erongo gets 4 million and me, Richard Mwebase, I get 900,000, I will be very demotivated. He's going to be over demotivated. And in a way, the group that I teach, they will not get quality education because of the demotivation which I'm getting from the selective salary enhancement. That's the point we are raising to government. Not because we are saying we want money here. No, quality education for all of us. If you go to same class, he's teaching economics, I'm teaching chemistry. He gets 4 million. We all teach for 40 minutes or 120 minutes. 120 minutes, and then he gets 4 million at the end of the month, and then I get 900,000. Do you think I will be motivated to deliver the quality which the RAN wants?
Mr. Elong,
that's the point really which we are raising to government.
Mr. Elong, is it true that actually primary teachers are not part of the salary enhancement structure for all science teachers in the country? And also, of course, I would love to get your reaction on most of his submissions that he made.
His submission is more of allegation, and they are labeling us as selfish. But it is on record. I've watched Philbert Baguma, the General Secretary of UNATO, saying that for them they negotiate for their members. As a labor union, even when you declare industrial action, it is only for your members. We have scientists who are in other departments, not only in primary, even in other institutions, like institutions, nurses, colleges, and then clinical. Then we have universities. They have also other platforms where they bring their what?
Their grievances.
Their grievances.
Yes.
UNATO is the one covering primary teachers. And I wonder why they are shifting. Do you want us to come and scoop those membership to our side?
The question is, you are saying you as Uganda professional
you are the one defining them as non-scientists.
Are you getting it? So the question I'm asking him, which I'm just asking the question. You are called Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union. And you have been here vehemently submitting that UNATO does not represent scientists. Isn't it? That's what you have already said on this show.
You have defined
so if you really stand for that, you stand for all the scientists, why don't you, in your advocacy, urge government to increase salaries of a science teacher in a primary and a mathematics teacher? I've never heard you anywhere say so.
Now, let me give clarity. All of us have gone to school.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is harder when somebody is a grade 3 certificate to understand this explanation. But I believe that all of us has gone quite A level and above. Specialization in the field of humanity and science begin in A level.
No, that's where there is a problem.
No, let me submit.
This is where the problem is.
Let me submit.
The definition of who is a scientist.
My brother, you want to talk alone, and I will allow you to talk, but allow me to make my submission.
Yes.
I know you have your sentiment, but what I'm drawing from is right there in public service. There is nobody under certificate which is categorized as a scientist, apart from nurses in public service. Even our fellow lab technicians, we are just fighting for them. The people who help us in the laboratory, in secondary. These people had sat, they were subscribing to them, they were not pushing their grievances, they were being underpaid simply because they have what? Certificate. And they were not raising their concern as what? Scientists. The issue of primary, which we are going to embrace and bring them on board in our union in the next push, because these ones are the enemies of scientists. They never talked about scientists, anything to do with scientists, they want to cover it. Yet it is on record that worldwide, any country that has developed has reached a point of changing their policy and prioritization.
Yes.
And they ended up prioritizing science, technology, innovation, and research. You can quote China, South Korea, USA, Japan. If you want to catch up with the level of development, and this is a recommendation from UN through Sustainable Development Goal 2030, where they are asking all these middle income and third world countries to prioritize science, technology, innovation, and research. To make sure that they produce a critical mass of scientists. But His Excellency the President, as a very visionary leader, has embraced this. But I find sound-minded Ugandans struggling to interpret what the president is trying to. The president is not a scientist. His cabinets, most of them are not scientists. But they have studied out the dynamic at which the world is moving. And they want Uganda to move at the same pace.
The same pace, yes.
But I see even lawyers struggling to understand this. I don't know whether they're doing it because somebody said the law is just about making money. So you swing in the direction where you are benefiting. But my brother, I want to tell you, the prioritizing science, technology, and innovation, if you put yourself on the edge to fight that policy, it will be very hard for you to succeed. And the quicker UNATO embraces it, because UNATO is standing for workers which are in education sector, which is very key in producing this. UNATO has never raised anything positive about scientists. For them, in their fight, they want to see that scientists are treated the same way. But I can tell you, my sister, right now, if you go and do a statistic, you'll find that 80% of students in the A-level are offering what? Arts. And only 20% opt for science. UNESCO advised government to increase the intake of science in the university up to 40% at least to cope up with the global development. But I can tell you that government, that was a time when government came and made science compulsory in all level. But up to now, the number of intake of science in university has not even reached 20%. Why? Because people don't see the value of studying science. So that's why government is putting up again another measure to ensure that they increase, they value scientists, that even the learners, the attitude of learners and their interests start changing at least.
So it's about adding importance to the science.
So it all boils down to the way our society looks at what? It is like people are not seeing ahead. They are just looking at now. But it is not about salary. That's why the president said, these are priority what? Areas that must be addressed even when we have limited what? Resources. But we have in mind to bring all the other sectors on what? On board.
On board.
Yes. So I don't want my brothers from UNATO to look far. Let them be visionary. Let them do research. Let them look at the dynamic.
I want to give him research.
Where the world is moving.
Now, you see, my brother, you have mentioned that countries that have developed, you are mentioning Japan, you are mentioning China, that they have put science
prioritize science
as a
technology.
priority. True.
Right now,
but they have not
the
done
phone you're using, the pen you're using, the clothes you're putting on, the shoes you're putting on, it is
can I submit?
everything that has designed you to come on this studio. It is science.
What I'm saying is that those countries is mentioning, they have not developed science at the expense of humanities. This is what you are forgetting. A country cannot only depend on science. Those countries you're talking about, Japan, you're talking about North Korea, you're talking, they have not.
And
excuse me.
First listen. Not doing that.
First listen. It has not done so at the expense of arts. Science. This is why we are saying that. You remember when I came here, I took you through the CBA. A science teacher was supposed to earn 6 million in the CBA that we signed in 2018, and a nurse teacher was supposed to earn 5.4. You see a difference of 600,000. That is what we call developing, prioritizing science, not at the expense of arts. But if you choose to give this one 4 million, this one 900,000, that means you are promoting science at the expense of arts. I get it. So in a way, you are not a spokesperson of government, unless you have turned into an
no.
Now, I'm still submitting what you say.
You are only framing lies.
If I could, they are not. I'm only responding to what you said. So, these countries, you need to go back and check your records. These countries have not prioritized the science at the expense of arts. They are moving. They are complementary, moving together. Secondly, in 1990, government of Uganda passed a law, which I have read to you. And I want to ask my brother when he leaves the studio to go and look for this law. It is called Uganda National Council for Science and Technology Act 1990. Defines the field of science and technology to include social science and humanities. That's the definition of who a scientist is. Meaning that these people knew that you cannot only front chemistry and biology as those people to be scientists. They know that even these other fields, these ones are also scientists. And secondly, the definition of who is a scientist and who is not a scientist, I want to ask him, where does he get that definition from? Who, according to who?
It is you defining.
According to who? I know.
Who a scientist
No,
is.
In my
I've given him.
in my submission, I have not
I've given
defined
him.
anybody
I've given
as a
him, and I
scientist.
want to. When I brought the primary teachers on board, and you are saying that by qualification, by training, they are not trained as scientists. That was your submission, and that's where I'm coming from. So, if you read this definition here, you see everything is on record here. When you read the Uganda National Council for Science and Technology Act, defines the field of science and technology to include social science and humanities. So really, let's see, try to get some facts. When you say that by training, the other one is not a scientist. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are not a scientist by training.
Government.
And actually, let me clarify this. I want to give an example of a physics teacher. Mr. Wrong, if you are teaching physics, in physics is what we call Cartesian theory. I don't know what subjects you teach. If you teach that theory, are you the innovator of that theory? Or you are just helping somebody to understand somebody's theory? A scientist is somebody who, like Professor Ogwang of Covidics, who sits in the lab and comes up with a solution to a problem. We are proudly saying that we have science teachers in schools, but you find schools, we are still buying liquid soap when we have science teachers in schools. Are those scientists? A scientist is somebody.
Let me
finish. A scientist is somebody who finds a solution to human problem. That is what we call a scientist. Somebody who will sit down here.
Let me demystify his lies.
Let me finish.
Those are lies they are cooking in the teacher's house.
A scientist is somebody. I've given an example of Professor Ogwang of Covidics, who will sit down and say, we have a problem of COVID-19. What do? He rushes to the laboratory. When he rushes to the laboratory, he comes up with a solution. And actually, initially, the plan of government to consider scientists were innovators.
How about the person who taught you? Because I see you saying there are teachers before
No,
science.
these ones are transmitter of knowledge, of people's knowledge.
What do you have to say about that?
Okay, let me submit.
Of people's theories.
Council, be civil. Let me tell you, be civil. One, the other day he told me he will not allow me to coach him law because he's a lawyer. Now I'm a teacher. He's pretending to be more of what?
I've researched.
If you go to that is a biased research. It is a biased research.
This is research.
I want you to come
to the national.
First, keep quiet. Keep quiet. I want you to come to school, and I will take you to our laboratory, and you will see the research and the teaching of science.
Yes.
I will take you to my chemistry. You see what they are forgetting. You see these guys and the people in teachers' house, the leaders of teachers' house.
Don't be personal.
No,
raise
please.
issues.
Let me say
it. His point.
Because they are the one raising, he's picking them from his bosses.
No.
We have had it on other platform.
I speak from
and I want to clarify on that. The leaders in the teachers' house are from primary, where they don't teach science practically. They don't teach science practically. But from secondary, we teach science practically. Every secondary school has a laboratory. A laboratory for chemistry, biology, and physics.
Yes. And
even agriculture. We have those materials there. Myself, I have taught, I'm a chemistry teacher. I have taught my students, I always teach them how to produce soap. It is in the syllabus. It is in the syllabus.
Yes.
In 2015, the president visited our school. We had a lot of innovation. We had produced liquid soap. We made students to do it themselves, and the president went and looked at it. So science teachers are doing a lot, but these people are preaching lies to the nation.
Yeah.
And what is coming, since we have now created our union, we are going to come up with an innovation there and display it in Kololo. And you will see what is going on in second. Because what they are preaching is blackmail. They have run away from science. They don't know what takes place in the teaching of science. We teach those laws, and then later we prepare them for critical thinking.
No, please. No. We are kind of running out of time. So I'm going to ask Mr. Elong. In one of your tweets, you thanked His Excellency H.E Museveni for actually increasing the salaries of science teachers. Have the salary structures been provided? Is it certain that for sure the science teachers will be getting this money in this July?
I want to tell the nation and the country that the salary structure for this financial year, we have talked to public service, it is in place. What had not been done, it was signed already. By the way, it was signed in June. Cabinet approved it. The pay enhancement of scientists across board, Cabinet already approved. Even the structure is already approved. The PS has signed it. They were just waiting, because by law they are supposed to release it in the first week of the financial year. And we are in that first week. They are going to release it. So those lies that they are negotiating, they are going to, nothing is going to change.
So the teachers will receive that money this month?
Science teachers are going to receive their 4 million and 3 million effective this financial year. Let them be rest assured.
Well, Mr. Mwebaze, considering that the students have lost about 3 weeks of intentional learning, how do you hope to bridge that gap for them?
But before I go to that, allow me just 1 second.
Okay, please go ahead.
There's something I want to clarify. By training, I'm a lawyer, and I speak from an informed and researched point of view. The submissions I'm making on this show are based on research and informed point of view, Mr. Rong. I've given you the National Technology Act, which defines who a scientist is. And initially, the plan of government, if you look at the cabinet paper, the plan of government to consider scientists were not these people who transmit the knowledge of others to students. It was to consider the innovators.
Government has a list of scientists.
Excuse me, I'm submitting.
Government has a list of scientists in the public service. What is putting is a lie. That's why primary teachers are not considered as scientists.
Okay.
Let him go and ask for that list.
If I could finish.
Public service has a list of scientists.
No.
And that is what government
when
is following.
When you are speaking, I kept quiet.
Okay,
you are actually
don't mislead the country.
You are disrupting.
Don't mislead the country.
You are disrupting my subject.
Don't mislead the country. Government has a list of scientists.
Let's get the conversation.
No, he's giving lies.
Yes, even if
government has the list of scientists and is aware of it.
Even if the government,
it does not include people under the category of
why don't you let me? Why don't you let me use my minutes?
Yes, please.
Why don't you let me?
You're misleading the country.
If I'm misleading, you have the opportunity to undo.
Talk to public service to include that group, but now, don't push a group that government has not recognized.
The fact that you see, for him, this is where the difference is. Recognition and who a scientist is. Because for him, he thinks you're a scientist by recognition. And me, I'm saying you are a scientist by making. That is where there is a difference, where we differ. I'm saying you are a scientist by making, like Professor Ogwang of Covidex. You are an innovator.
He has clarified on that.
There's a difference between being categorized as a scientist and actually whether you are a scientist. You can be called a lawyer when actually you are not. Government can choose to come up with a law and they say, well, Vincent Rong is a lawyer, when he is not. When he doesn't any aspects and attributes for being a lawyer. So the scientist whom the government had initially thought of was an innovator, somebody who comes up with an innovation. And when he comes up with an innovation, you have like this phone here. You come up and you innovate, you come up with an app that can help CTV to do something. That one is a scientist. But this one here, who teaches students that Kerson theory is like this, A, B, C, D. When you do like this, and then you come up with this, you are not a scientist. You are just a transmitter.
I doubt
you are just a transmitter.
Capacity.
You are just a transmitter of that knowledge.
Mr.
A
Mwebaze.
transmitter of that knowledge, but you are not a scientist.
Okay, Mr. Mwebaze, let's get back to the issue of compensating.
The issue of compensation.
Yeah, the students' time.
The issue of compensation. We know, and I said here on this show before, that industrial actions, we know we don't take pressure in industrial actions. And what we have been really fighting for is not even for helping a teacher, one per se.
Yeah.
It is helping the learner and the parent. So for a teacher really to get quality to give quality education, the learner must have a good teacher. So we know that the time that which has been lost, we are going to try and see how we can catch up and add some more time to see how students and learners can really catch up. But what I want the parents to know and the people is that really this fight is not about a teacher, it's about them. Because it is a good teacher that will impact quality in a learner. It is a good teacher that will make a lawyer like me. It is a good teacher that will make a teacher like him. So that is what we are asking the parents to understand. And second, these issues of saying we have been bribed, we have been done what? No. Labor unions don't work, push like rebel outfits. We work in the spirit of negotiation. We work in the spirit of consultation. And when you consult,
well, Mr.
you come back and see how you can really solve the problem.
Well, Mr. Elong, as we wind up, do you see both factions, that is, teachers and the science teachers actually coexisting without split staff rooms?
What UNATO is presenting, as I conclude, is not a picture of what is in school.
What has UNATO presented?
They are presenting like the staff room has splitted. I told you we just had a meeting, and in our every staff, every school has a staff WhatsApp group, which has both group, science and what arts, and the people have been communicating. Only that UNATO has for long sat on the issue of teachers.
Which teachers?
And the art teachers have lost confidence in them. There has been, in their platform right now, there is a massive exodus. People are leaving the platform.
Are you on those platforms?
The teachers are not dividing, but they have lost confidence in the UNATO, how UNATO has handled their issues. And they feel that their voices have been suffocated. Even coming now, it was just more of seeing that science teachers have succeeded, and they wanted also to put up a statement. But to think that UNATO has been mining about the teachers' issues, I think anybody can tell. From 2018, they are carrying an agreement which was not fully signed, and taking to government to implement. You wonder what has happened in between 2018 to 2022.
I know.
They bring the issue of COVID, but
there was an increment in 2019.
COVID, but I can tell you that it is not enough justification, because there are other groups like university, judiciary, that got salary increment.
Can I ask him a question?
No, Mr. Mwebaze, we're out of time. In fact, I need
UNATO is just panicking. And I want to tell the nation and the art teachers that what I had said last time, just to use the right platform to negotiate, government is going to give you what you want.
Ask for, yes. Mr. Mwebaze, please, your final closing remarks to the government,
now,
the public, to teachers.
What I want to clarify is that the money he is proud of that he's going to receive was negotiated by us. And Uganda Professional Teachers Union has never negotiated anything for its members. This one I want it on record. They are going to get it because of a presidential directive.
Directive, okay.
That's the what the public needs to know about this.
Mr. Elong, your closing remarks?
I thought he had closed. Now, secondly, the issue of saying that arts teachers are doing an exodus is talking. You see the problem with our brothers. They like poking their nose in people's business. How do you know? Are you in Uganda National Teachers Union for you to claim that members on our platforms, members are doing that? So that is poking your nose in our business, which we don't want. Can you please stick to your aim? So secondly, what I want to tell the public is that we stand for every teacher. Uganda National Teachers Union represents all, be it science, be it arts, be it primary, be it VTVET, be it everybody. And in our structures, at the National Executive Council, we have representative VTVET, we have science teachers, we have ABC. The next time I will even carry here all their names here, you see them.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Mr. Elong, your final remarks as we wrap up the show.
My final remark is for science teachers to work, not to listen to insult from UNATU, but to work together with art teachers and support them. And also I want to appeal to the art teachers to support the science teachers' salary enhancement, because it has set a base for their salary also to be increased.
Yes.
The people want to knock out salary for science teachers, don't waste teachers well, because we have got information. Even some of them in the unions,
science teachers should support the arts salary?
I want to say they are proprietors of private schools, and they are fearing that the teachers will leave their business, so because they have been paying them little money. So art teachers support the science teachers, leave these guys who want to put teachers down, and we will support you in the next subsequent enhancement to ensure that your salaries also is raised.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we've come to the end of this discussion. I've been sitting down with Mr. Elong Vincent and Mr. Mwebaze Richard. And what I have to say about this is that, of course, teachers are back in class today. As of today, they're in classes. And of course, CTV is going to be following how this unfolds for the teachers, the motivation, and how the students are actually going to benefit from this after losing out on 3 weeks of intentional learning. My name is Priva Elibas. Coming up is our views. Good morning.